Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin B. on the board. Calvin B., yes, on the board.
You did it.
I'm confusing myself. Coming to you live from our studio in beautiful downtown Waukesha. You can always join us. You can call or text at 844-967-2789, 844-96
Party.
or leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Very, very busy show today. Excited to have our guest next hour at 11:06. Jeff Green is the CEO of Sustainable Communities Corporation, and they're going to be building hemp-based batteries in Wisconsin.
That's interesting.
It is. It's fascinating. So we have many, many questions for Mr. Green about how this works.
Do you think it's interesting that his last name is also Green?
Oh, I like it. It fits.
You know, that's where most humans would have inserted a laugh, but you decided to go the other route of going,
yes, you're
adorable.
Right. It is adorable. It's adorable.
Thank you.
So again, Jeff Green, CEO of Sustainable Communities Corporation, making hemp-based batteries in Wisconsin. We're going to find out all about that and how this works, and hopefully he can break it down and explain it to us like I'm in 5th grade.
I hope so. For me, my sake, not you. You're smart.
Oh, well, that's very nice.
You're very smart.
All kinds of things going on. There is some breaking news this morning, and I'm sure that Earl and Sandy touched on it, and we will touch on this a little bit later on this hour. A federal appeals court today rejecting Donald Trump's claim that he is immune from prosecution for alleged criminal acts he did while he was president, including trying to overturn the 2020 election. Yeah, there was that.
Yeah, quote unquote, a crime. It's more like a treasonous offense, but whatever. That's fine.
As opposed to his argument that, yeah, I can do whatever I want at any time that I want. And if I don't have complete immunity for the rest of time,
yes,
that is a danger to our presidency.
Throw my kids in there too.
Yeah.
Give them some immunity.
Yeah, forever.
Like what do we do? Like Captain America? You're like, you inject it into us? I don't know how do you do the immunity? That's me being Donald Trump. I didn't do my voice. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
We're going to start, though. Once again, they caught the car. And now it's like, yeah, now we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Republicans who have been screaming about what's happening at the southern border. And hey, it's not like we're trying to say everything is just peachy down there, because it's not. And it hasn't been for a long time.
For decades. And these GOP leaders in Washington, and a lot of them in states too, in state elected officials as well, but mainly national GOP leaders are wagging their fists saying, we got to do something. We have to do something. Joe Biden's doing nothing. Well, Jane, what happened?
There was a bipartisan measure, Greg Bach.
What?
Yeah, a bipartisan national security package, including a bipartisan border deal, has been presented. And what do the House Republicans do? They reject it.
Yep.
Not going to do it.
Not right
going to
now.
happen.
Is it not good enough?
No, it's because Donald Trump isn't in office yet.
Oh.
Apparently, Donald Trump doesn't want the border issues fixed.
Nope.
So he can run on that for his reelection campaign.
He has told his party, that's right, his party.
And it is his party.
That just leave it alone. Let's talk about this, and let's talk about Q1 of 2025.
Yeah. We can wait.
Or never, because I didn't do anything in my first 4 years. What will lead you to believe I'll do anything in another 4 years?
And that's a really good point, Greg. I think, again, we tend to forget. I forget what I had for dinner on Sunday.
Lamb chops.
We tend to forget the past.
Yeah.
And what happened in the past. So just a reminder that when Donald Trump was elected, they held all 3 branches. They had the House, the Senate, and the White House.
Mm-hmm.
In those first 2 years, did they pass an immigration bill?
Nope.
That would be no.
The closest they came to any sort of border security was by building more border wall, which we were told was going to be paid for by Mexico, which Mexico promptly said, get off our property. And we were stuck with the bill. And they didn't finish it. And it's not a secure border anyways. It's a border fence you can get through.
And don't forget, they took that money from programs that were intended for our military members.
Yeah.
There were infrastructure things on bases all around the country. That's my understanding anyway, that money was supposed to go to for people who live on these bases all over the U.S.
And
they took that money to make improvements for our soldiers to build this wall.
And it was also used by GOP luminaries such as Steve Bannon to raise money.
Oh, how'd that go?
He bought a boat, bought a couple boats, I believe. He was got in trouble for misuse of funds because that fence is not getting better.
What's really disappointing, although at this point
you're not angry, Jane. You're just disappointed.
I'm very disappointed, Greg. Mitch McConnell, long time, now he's the Senate Minority Leader, but was long the Senate Majority Leader. Yesterday, said this, quote, "This is a humanitarian and security crisis of historic proportions, and Senate Republicans have insisted, not just for months, but for years, that this urgent crisis demanded action. It is now time for Congress to take action on supplemental national security legislation that finally meets these challenges head on. Make no mistake, the gauntlet has been thrown, and America needs to pick it up," unquote.
But I don't need to pick it up. You need to pick it up.
Well, there were some comments like that I saw on Twitter after this got posted. Now, 3 hours later, 3 hours later,
3 hours later,
Mitch McConnell comes back and says, "Yeah, the politics have changed.
Oh,
so don't accept the deal."
What takes longer to cook? A turkey or his values? I mean, come on.
3 hours.
3 hours. This is Mitch McConnell, a man who, I don't say this lightly, I respected a great deal when he stood up to Donald Trump in 2021 regarding the Capitol riots, the insurrection, which, may have had a guest there who currently is the congressman of the 3rd district, but that's neither here nor there at this moment. Mitch McConnell has always been a guy who, he's a conservative. He's a hardcore conservative. He's
absolutely
not center right. He's not independent. He holds conservative values, but he was able to stand up in front of Donald Trump and say, "No, you are wrong. This is what you did, and you need to take responsibility." Well, where is that Mitch McConnell from 4 years ago now, almost to the day?
Donald Trump, as you pointed out at the beginning, it is Donald Trump's party now. So he calls the shots. And if he doesn't want a border deal, there's not going to be a border deal. And it's even interesting seeing some of these conservatives now on different media outlets getting called on their own stuff.
Yeah.
By conservative media outlets.
Yes.
For instance, Senator Langford.
For
example, Senator Langford, who was tasked with putting this deal together.
Yeah.
He is a Republican. This is Senator Langford appearing on Newsmax on Tuesday.
Donald Trump did endorse you.
He did.
But regardless of that, why do you think he's going after you and this border bill, considering this is the most, and I've been in this town for a lot longer than you have, this is the most conservative immigration compromise that I have ever seen come to this level. Previous efforts under Bush and under Obama were far more permissive, far more liberal than this. Why do you think Trump's going after you?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, other than he has a different job than I have right now. His job right now is running for president, and so he's trying to be able to manage that. And obviously, a chaotic border is helpful to him in the process on that.
So there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
A chaotic border is good for Donald Trump.
Absolutely, yes. Of course it is. I am not a moron. Well, live stream. Let me know your thoughts on that. I understand why he wants to use it as a bargaining chip, why he wants to use it as a campaign stop and as a speech portion, a portion of his stump speech. But once again, this is another example of GOP leaders, elected officials in Washington, using these really important topics and holding them hostage. And we're not just anything. Remember, we've talked about this before. It's not just the people coming around the border. This is their border security. These are people in the courts, lawyers and judges. This has ramifications on so many people all across the country.
Absolutely.
And they just decided,
nope.
Let's make it like a farm bill and do next year.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing
That's
too,
a
is
whole,
that farm bill.
yeah. So this is, it's shameful and it's sad and it's embarrassing because, you know, we're supposed to be America and we are America. And I'm not going to slag off the country, but this is embarrassing to watch political leaders do something like this again.
Well, at least now we know what they're about. At least now it's pretty much, it should be pretty clear to everybody that they don't actually want to fix anything. And all this screaming about what's happening to our country with all of these immigrants coming in, apparently that ain't a big deal.
So the question I have for you and for everyone listening, it's 844-967-2789, 844-967 or pasty.
Yeah.
Will this attitude, it won't have an effect on the MAGA Republicans. Like we said before, you're not changing their mind. You're not going to do anything that's going to put a bump in the road of the man God sent down, Donald Trump.
To lead us, yeah.
Do you think this sort of decision making, and let's include the farm bill too, and for those farmers out here in Wisconsin, all over the country, do you think these decisions will have a knock-on effect for those independent, right-leaning, conservative,
Undecided kind of?
yeah, like people who aren't totally decided yet, but and they're not thrilled with Joe Biden, but they're really not sure about Donald Trump. Do you think these decisions will have a knock-on effect?
844-967-2789, 844-967-2789. Sharky, I see you on the line. Stay close. We will keep this going. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
She only knows if someone wants her. Oh, if they want me. I only know they want me. She gets mad and she starts to cry. She takes a swing, man. She can't help. She don't mean no harm. She just don't know what else to do about it.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK, Waukesha's home for the Devil's Advocates radio show.
Thrivent is growing in southeastern Wisconsin and seeking financial advisors. If a career with independence, impact, and purpose is important to you, you should explore the Thrivent Financial Advisor opportunity. Build your own business. Use your values, drive, and skills to help others. You'll get unsurpassed support from Thrivent, a Fortune 500 company. To learn more, send your contact information to wicareers@thrivent.com.
I got serious about staying fit just a couple of years ago. Now 5Ks, yoga, and smart nutrition are all part of my weekly routine. Part of my eating right plan? Country Hearth breads. Natural breads with the whole grains and natural ingredients my body needs to perform at its best. Just a slice of toasted multigrain with peanut butter before a workout, and I'm ready to roll. Country Hearth is the easy choice because it's good for me and great tasting too. Country Hearth breads, baking our best for you.
You're listening to
Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin is on the board. Coming to you live from our studio in downtown Waukesha. You can always join the show at 844-967-2789 or leave a comment on the live stream if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, talking about the Republicans' latest. Yep, we don't want your border deal. Thanks very much. But no, we don't need it because our guy's going to run on chaos at the border. So we're just going to let this go for another, 300 and how many days?
Oh my God.
You don't have to math on here. That's fine.
Okay. Or as I call it, Project.
Yeah, whatever. Sharky is on the line from Racine. Good morning, Sharky. Thank you for your patience. What did you want to say?
Well, thank you for this. And I always wished that I was a fly on the wall, in this political arena, because I would learn so much because I'm a bad listener otherwise. But I do agree, though, that when Mr. Mitch McConnell jumped down the throat on Trump and really gave it to him, I appreciated that. But I always have wondered, since the last administration had left, I believe there was pretty much an intensive investigation on Mitch McConnell and the transportation department that she ran. And so I'm wondering if they're teetering on deals, and we could do this, but we could do that. But, what is going on in the back office with potentially if that case is still being investigated? I don't know that. I couldn't find it, but it was certainly there. So, there's a lot of vacillation here going. So I'm just always curious.
Sure. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Sharky. I don't know that that investigation in the transportation department that was run by Elaine Chao, who is Mitch McConnell's wife, if anything ever came from that,
I
I
don't
would be
think so.
very, very surprised if that was still a thing.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to me that, and you had posed the question before we took a second. Is this obvious gamesmanship now over a border deal? Is this enough to nudge undecideds one way or the other? Will this make a difference to folks who really have not decided? Like you said, maybe not necessarily thrilled with President Biden, but seeing this, again, the Republicans don't want a border deal. They want chaos at the border.
Mhm.
All this screaming they've been doing for months and decades about fixing the issue at the border it was a lie.
Because because they always pick these issues, these huge issues with so much nuance. Because now in November, voters are going to take in consideration a few things, huge factors, border control, and everything that went into it. And by that point, that story will be said over and over again, how the GOP punted the ball in favor of a candidate versus the people. Let's not forget abortion. When you think about the fact that how many millions of Americans are going to go to the polls who they're not dying the world liberals, but they want access to health care, or they want people to have access to health care. That's another deciding factor. You have all these huge things that they have just either mucked up or turned their backs on. I think this is going to have devastating consequences in November. And not just that, but like earlier than that, like smaller races too, depending on who's running on what. I mean, my gosh, whether it's state senators, I mean, we have elections coming up, and with new maps, I mean, it's all on the table.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So these lack of opinion, lack of action, or I'll say it, wrong opinions, something like abortion, I think are going to have huge negative effects on the GOP.
And it remains to be seen how many Republicans will continue to speak up. Senator Lisa Murkowski, a Republican from Alaska. Now, this is from like 2 weeks ago. She was on CNN. Lisa Murkowski, Republican, quote, "It was the Republicans, I will remind you, that told the Democrats months ago that if you want to try to get your Ukraine funding, you're going to have to take up the border issue. This is what we asked for. This is what we asked Senator Lankford to negotiate. It's what he did. He did it in good faith. So let's take up what we asked for." Now, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If the messaging has gone out among all of the Republicans, they'll probably all go into lockstep and this is a terrible deal and it doesn't do anything and blah, blah, blah.
Lisa Murkowski's word is rarely worth the paper it's printed on. So many times she's come forward with words of inspiration and wisdom and bipartisan, and at the end of the day, she runs with the GOP,
Right.
and really works over the public.
Greg Sargent is a columnist for the New Republic. He says that some of the opposition from Republicans, they argue it will allow 5,000 migrants to enter a day. In fact, it uses just 5,000 encounters with Border Patrol as the threshold to shut the border. They've also falsely claimed that President Biden has the authority to shut the border down when he doesn't. This bill would, in fact, do a great deal that Republicans say that they want. Tightening asylum requirements, speeding up removals, adding some due process protections, granting work permits to those who are given initial asylum screening so they don't have to be dependent on aid. The reason they're fighting so hard, again, according to this columnist, is pressure from Donald Trump. Republicans will have participated in passing a solution, making it harder for them to blame Biden for it. That is plainly why Donald Trump keeps urging Republicans to kill the bill.
Well, right now they can't blame Biden for anything. They can do it all they want, and there'll be people who will believe it. But at this point, any level-headed person who's read it more than a sentence will say, oh, okay, there's nothing you can do because the side that wants it's doing nothing. We had a text come in. Andrew from Maine, as always, good to hear from you, buddy. He says, ideally, the GOP would select Haley as the nominee if the RNC bothers letting their voters vote and put Trump out to pasture. He also said, as an independent, I find it unconscionable to place my faith in a single candidate and letting him run the party's actions.
Definitely.
I feel the Senate should write up and vote on separate bills for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and Homeland Security so they can stand on their own. Absolutely. Absolutely, Andrew. If they pass, let the House take whatever action they take. And that's the thing, too, is that's what we always get is that thing of like, I'll give you your thing, but you got to give me my thing.
Exactly.
Now. And that thing is like money for Israel. That's not a tiny bit. That's not a little pocket money for my district.
No.
That's billions of dollars
Yes.
for weapons and protection. So
Andrew,
I agree.
I know Mark Pocan was on with Pat Kreitlow
Correct.
earlier
Yes.
this morning.
Yes.
And I heard him say again, too, this is the least productive House in history.
Chip Roy, give me something to campaign on.
Yeah, Chip Roy, a Republican from Texas.
Yep.
On the floor of the House going, we got nothing.
Yeah.
What am I going to take back to my district? We have nothing. All right. News coming up. We have a great entertainment minute from Pete Schwaba.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of fun. Keep you up on everything that's all hip and pop culture and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then when we return, this is what you say is government overreach. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
Plans, I ain't going nowhere. Take your fast car and keep on driving. So I remember we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, it felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder, and I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. You got a fast car. Is it fast enough so we can fly away? Still gotta make a decision.
Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Wisconsin lawmakers are taking steps to stop artificial intelligence from influencing this year's elections. A bill in the Assembly would mean a $1,000 fine on political ads that use AI but don't disclose it.
I think it's very important that people be able to trust what they see and what they hear. And that's why we want to have a simple disclaimer on the campaign ad so people know when artificial intelligence is being used.
Representative Adam Nealon on WISN TV's Up Front. There's only about a month left for people in Wisconsin facing foreclosure to get money from a state program. The Wisconsin Help for Homeowners program will stop taking applications after March 8th. The program offers up to $40,000 to help eligible people who are behind on bills like mortgage payments or property taxes. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WAUK News, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. In some communities, you can go vote today. In-person absentee voting starts today for places that have spring primaries. Not all cities and towns are included, and the best way to find out about electoral matters in your neighborhood is a website. myvote.wi.gov can tell you about your specific ballot. A photo ID is required for any type of voting in the state. Milwaukee police officer Frank Williams was in court yesterday, where he faces charges of strangulation and suffocation as well as child abuse. Following a not guilty plea, he was ordered to stand trial. Williams is scheduled to return to court in March for a scheduling conference. Prosecutors say Williams choked a 7-year-old girl multiple times with a belt, resulting in numerous bruises. That led to the felony charges. And that's what you need to know. I'm Stuart J. Waddles, WAUK News.
The Todd Alba Show.
You look at Taylor Swift, she fought off the bitterness of defeat when she lost her records, when she was kind of duped by a manager. People who told her she'd never amount to anything. But it doesn't matter if you like her music or not. I'm a fan of anyone. Doesn't matter whether they're an artist or an athlete or just a common Jane or Joe. If you've overcome something in your life, you're a winner. If you've made it through, that's what it's all about.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
I'm Pete with the 60-second Showbiz Beat. If you haven't seen Joni Mitchell's performance of Both Sides Now or Tracy Chapman's performance of Fast Car at Sunday night's Grammy performances, run to YouTube. Both artists crushed it, and the performances are being called some of the best ever at the Grammys, by me. Comedian Shane Gillis will host Saturday Night Live on February 24th. Normally, this wouldn't be news, but Gillis was fired from the cast of the show almost as fast as he was hired for making racist, homophobic, and misogynistic jokes in the past. Gillis said previously he was not surprised by the firing and acknowledged that he broke today's rules. Apparently, enough time has gone by so he could be promoted to host. Do you think they will address the controversy in a sketch? Yeah, me neither. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 8 and 10 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Seek the sunshine while you can. Clouds are increasing today, becoming mostly cloudy by tonight. High temperatures rise to the mid-40s today and climb even warmer tomorrow to the upper 40s. Winds start to whip by Thursday and rain rolls in. Find that umbrella. Currently, it's 28 degrees.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Outgoing Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm. The way I joke about it is I'm probably not doing my job right if somebody's not ticked off at me most of the time.
The only way you can do it is if you have that steadfast commitment to doing justice. That tension's built into it, and that's quite frankly what makes the job just so phenomenal and exciting and fun.
The Maggie Dawn Show, weeknights at 6 p.m. on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. Your home of the Earl Ingram Show, weekday mornings from 8 till 10 on the
and welcome to Matenaer On Air. So very happy to have you along with us. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, the Calviente on the board, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Waukesha. We love to hear from you. You can call, you can text at 844-967-2789, 844-96. Or leave nice BGs there, or leave a message on the live stream if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
I gotta say, the live stream's kind of quiet today.
They deserve a day off. There's usually a big party going on in the live stream.
I know.
They have lives.
What do we do?
We were talking about the bipartisan Senate deal that dropped on Sunday nights about making a deal for the border and other aid to Israel and Ukraine. And of course, now that they finally got what they want, the Republicans don't want it anymore. It's like, no, we don't want this, even though it includes a lot of things they've been begging for, including beefing up border security as a condition to give more aid to Ukraine, a tougher, faster asylum processing system so that those who don't meet the criteria don't get to stay and work for years as their cases go through the courts. It hires more people for Customs and Border Protection, huge investments in fentanyl detection technologies, just all kinds of things that they have been screaming for. And no. We're not going to do it. We don't like it. Mainly because Donald Trump doesn't like it because he wants to run on this as an issue.
Well, the question I also have too is, what universe was it? Is there where the Democrats said, give them everything, give them everything,
Give them what they want,
throw it on the floor, let's see if they go for it. And that's what the Democrats basically did. They said, here's everything you want,
and
let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want it now. Oh, you don't want it now. Oh, good to know.
This is Nancy Mace, Republican, on Fox News, of all places.
The lady who wore the A.
Yes, the A. Commenting on this border deal.
Have you read all 370 pages of this bill?
We are working through it. We have about 50 pages more to go, but from what we can tell, and I'm going to put forth a statement once we finish reading the bill, the measures that we feel are extremely undesirable, that keep our border open, that water down the asylum system. It's not good for the country.
Well, they say
quite
exactly
frankly.
the opposite. That's why I'm asking, and obviously Senator Langford and his colleagues, worked hard to negotiate something. It's hard to do some actual negotiation, and they say no new asylum claims would be allowed. Anybody crossing would be removed. Over this Benford. Hold on.
Yeah.
And he said, it ends the whole idea of I made it to U.S. soil and now you have to process me. It increases detention beds, doubles the deportation flights, and adds $650 million to expand the border wall, which is the same language and funding that's in H.R. 2. So, isn't getting something better than getting nothing, because this problem isn't going away?
They don't care.
That was Fox News.
That was Fox News.
Not MSNBC, not CNN, not your liberal hippie uncle's newspaper. That was Fox News coming at Nancy Mace.
Yeah. We asked the question about whether or not this will make a difference for people who are not decided yet on which way they're going to vote come November. Jim from Appleton texting in, listening in Green Bay on WGBW. Thank you, Jim. Will it be a big deal? That all depends on the Democrats. They need to beat this drum loud and long, like the Republicans do, for their talking points.
Absolutely. And also Andrew says YouTube live chat is way better than Facebook or Twitter.
Oh, that's where the cool kids
I guess I thought we got all of it too. So that's fine. All right, cool. Have your fun. What's also just a little point of order for those who are like, well, it's 350 pages. If you've ever seen a bill come out of Congress, a bill from Congress is about I think it's triple space on a piece of paper.
Oh, really?
And it's about half to 2/3 of the page itself. That's for notes. So if you want to do addendums, if you want to add notes in there,
that makes sense.
So when you hear 350 pages, if you do that single or double space and use the entire page, it's much less. My point is they had plenty of time to read it, because when they get these bills, they have an army of interns and lawyers reading these things.
It's not like
there's
Nancy Mace
no
is-
reason why there should be 50 pages left over.
Yeah, it's not like Nancy Mace is sitting down and reading this entire report by herself, because she's not.
No, she's making custom-made T-shirts as a symbol that she's read a book.
This will be an ongoing thing. The other really interesting piece about this that I think folks need to know is that the Border Patrol Agents Union, and there is such a thing, and they have not been big fans of President Biden.
Yeah.
They have come out in favor of this bill. This includes things that the Border Patrol agents
That's
want.
amazing.
And yet, House Speaker Mike Johnson appeared on Laura Ingraham last night and implied that the reason why this union, Border Patrol Agents Union, has endorsed this bill is because they get a pay raise. That was his response. Well, yes, I understand there are some, he said, essentially, I understand there are some pay incentives in there. So, and they had a go, Johnson and Laura had a good chuckle about that.
Sure, bruh. Sure. Yep. You get a pay rise. Oh, boy.
If you want to join us, you can always join us at 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Party. A really quick question. We had a comment on the live stream that says, ye have little brains. Is that us? Is that me and you? Do we have little brains? Or do the people we're talking about have little brains? I'm so confused.
Be specific.
Thank you. Specificity is key here in the live stream.
All right, we're going to move on.
All right. You know what I love, Jane?
What's that?
I love freedom.
The freedom to change our minds. The
Freedom to change our minds.
Change in midstream.
Freedom to strap in for some freedom. Sometimes I don't want to strap in.
You want to unbuckle for
I want
freedom.
to unbuckle for freedom.
Unbuckle for freedom. Absolutely. I bring this up.
Sounds like a country music song.
It does. Write that down.
Unbuckle for freedom.
That'll be a huge hit.
Yeah.
That'll be a huge hit. While speaking to a group of voters in Columbus, Ohio this week, Republican Senate candidate Frank LaRose brought up how much he dislikes seatbelts and the sensors in cars. Galvin, I believe we have a sound clip of the seatbelt overreach. Let's take a listen.
The point that you're making about this sort of insidious, incremental desire for control over things, purportedly with good intentions, sows the seeds of disaster.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, is the old saying, right? Allowing the federal government to control your vehicle is a very bad idea, right? I mean, I don't even like the how automated a lot of things are in cars these days, like the little bell that rings if you decide not to buckle your seatbelt or whatever else. Like it goes too far.
As someone with a uterus, it is remarkable to me that having to buckle your seatbelt is government overreach. But determining what medical procedures I can get in order to save my life, that's okay. But the ding, ding, ding of the seatbelt bell is too much.
Well, someone who has a deuterus, I think this guy's an idiot. That first of all, the bell goes away. I know that because I've heard it stops ringing after a while. You'll be fine. Just wait. Second of all, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. This isn't good intentions. These are solemn decisions to keep people safe. You don't want to buckle your safety belt? Fine. You can incur a ticket. You're gonna have to pay it. You can get into an accident. You can get hurt, or that the road might be paved with your brains. So this is a man who truly has nothing to stand on. He has no other issues that I guarantee you his website's terrible.
So it's just a general government overreach.
Yeah.
Booga, booga, booga.
Yes. The government's coming to take away your guns, your unbuckled safety belts, and your children.
And your gas stoves.
They're going to turn them into gay, trans, seatbelt lobbyists who work for anti-NRA groups. And that's what government does every day of our lives.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration points out that in 2021, there were 26,325 passenger vehicle occupants who were killed. 50% of those approximately were not buckled up.
And I will say to that the same thing that I'm not going to name names. Someone I know who was dating a person who refuses to wear a seatbelt. They said to me when I asked, why don't you wear one? It's my choice if I want to die. Or it's my choice if I die, that's on me. So that's what that dude would say. Frank LaRose would say in the face of that information. Well, you know what? I still want my choices. I still want my freedom.
Yeah, I think there's about 50% of the population in this country that also would like their freedom.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, 51%. By the way, there has been some clearing up. Sherry Minozzi, not us. She loves us. We are not the ones with little brains.
It depends on the topic and the day.
It's very, very true.
But we appreciate that.
And also, as I didn't think about this too. We got a question from Andrew from Maine. No discombobulation today. That is going to be moving to Friday.
Yes.
Dan will be moving to Friday, same time, 10:30 to 11. We just have made a switch. Forgot to mention that. Thank you, Andrew, for bringing that up. But Dan is going nowhere for now that we know of.
Yeah, he'll be joining us Fridays, moving forward from 10:30 to 11 o'clock for a recombobulation area.
Exactly.
Right now, call or text talking about government overreach and seatbelts. I remember when the whole seatbelt debate began. I grew up in an era where you did not have to buckle up.
Back in those days, you could drink while driving too, couldn't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. We had big metal dashboards and so you go flying forward and you hit
Just
that.
drive slower.
It'll be fine. Senate candidate in Ohio, major government overreach by forcing us to wear seatbelts.
Yeah.
Seatbelts saved an estimated 14,955 lives in 2021 and could have saved an additional almost 2,600 people if they had been buckled up in 2017. Again, that's according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I guess the question I have for Mr. What's his again?
LaRose.
LaRose, where do you square your because I mean there's no way he's not pro-life. Where do you square that then? How pro-life are you? Is it just the baby, or is it, I mean, like, because
well, then what do we need car seats
if
for? Why do we have car seats?
If you're pro-life, I think you're pro-safety belt because that's going to keep you alive.
But it's safe. But it's freedom.
You're right. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I forgot this was about freedom. I am dumb. I am ye of little brain. Freedom. I didn't mean to step on your freedom. I didn't mean to step on your freedom.
And one thing I did see, and I do not know if this is accurate when I was looking at this yesterday, and it went across on Twitter. If you are an EMT or you have an experience in that kind of stuff, I saw one guy who's claimed that he knows an EMT who says he has never picked up a dead body that was belted.
Wow.
When they respond to accidents, usually the person who is deceased was not wearing a seatbelt. If you want to clarify that for me, because again, I saw this on Twitter, and I know everything you see on the internet is true. But if I'm wrong, please, call me out. I have no problem with it. 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Party. Triple G Greg Wansnyder getting in on the live stream saying, I always drive with my seatbelt on. Just thought you guys would like to know. I make sure my passengers are wearing their safety belt. So do I. I don't move my car unless they put their safety belts on.
Oh, everybody's buckled up when I'm driving.
When I drive as well. So who wants to take a ride with me? And he also says, in fact, I have a perfect driving record. Who else can say that? Well, I can't say that. So look, thanks for the brag there, Greg.
844-967-2789. Karina, I see you on the line. Stay with us if you want to check in on this, talking about seatbelt government overreach. Oh, my.
Overreach 24.
Overreach 2024. You're listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK, Waukesha's home for Matt Flynn Direct.
This is Chuck Smith, founder of Current Electric. I want to thank you, Southeast Wisconsin, for making us #1 electrical service company in our area. From residential and commercial to all things solar. Do you know the #1 reason people call Current Electric? It is trust. We answer the call. They trust our heroes in their home and businesses. With 8,500 five-star reviews and growing, I'm so very proud of our team of heroes. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com. Home of the superheroes.
Civic Media and the Shaw 101 FM presents the Max Inc. Radio Concert Series featuring Iron Plow. Iron Plow with special guest Bony Fingers, Friday, February 16th at Maddie's Bar and Music Lounge, 200 Madison Street in Waukesha. This is a free event. The Max Inc. Radio Concert Series with Iron Plow and Bony Fingers, presented by Civic Media, the Shaw 101 FM, and Max Inc. Radio. We are local music. The Shaw.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working.
Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Thank you so very much for joining us. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin on the board. You can always join us, call or text at 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Pasty.
Or leave a message on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're talking about Frank LaRosa, U.S. Republican Senate candidate from Ohio, talking about government overreach because of seatbelts.
Because of seatbelts.
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 I thought we'd had this argument
back in the 80s.
30 years ago, and
Yeah.
kind of decided we're going to wear seatbelts. But according to Mr. LaRose, this is enormous government overreach. And as a woman, I find that hilarious. Karina has been waiting on the line. Thank you for your patience, Karina. What did you want to say?
Too, Jane. When I heard it from you guys start talking about it, I felt like my teeth start scratching. I couldn't involuntarily. I'm like, overreach. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Right. And who owns my uterus? Please explain to me.
Right. I'm
Part of
saying
the
nothing right
government
now.
Owns my uterus. This is but I know what I want to say about the buckle ups and stuff. Well, those rich people and who are talking, I'm sure they are buckling up because they all have a life insurance, and they know perfectly well if you die without the belt, the life insurance will not gonna pay
I didn't
off.
know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, because it's suicide technically. You know what are you doing? You're doing it on purpose. Most of the
Interesting.
life insurances, most of the auto insurances are not going to cover you if you have if you
Seatbelt.
had an accident.
Small price to pay, Karina, for freedom.
Thank you so much, Karina. Really appreciate you checking in. Always appreciate you listening. Andrew from Maine with some clarification. I asked if anybody was an EMT and what their experiences had been responding to car accidents. Andrew says, as a former EMT, yes, you can be killed wearing your seatbelt. I don't dispute that at all, especially if your car goes under a trailer, but you do have a much better chance of living if you are belted.
Mm-hmm.
Much like non-smokers, those people still die, but you're going to have a better chance of living longer.
Yeah. And Greg Wansnyder wanted me to bring this up too. Triple Greg Wansnyder. It's worth pointing out to your listeners, he was the one who talked before about making his friends belt in, that he's blind.
Legally blind.
He's
and
legally
Greg has been
blind
on this show many times.
Yeah, he's legally blind as a quick public service announcement. And we also got a wonderful text from Carmela. Since freedom is the word this hour, I'll quote Eleanor Roosevelt. True patriotism springs from a belief in the dignity of the individual, freedom and equality, not only for Americans, but for all people on earth. Thank you, Carmela.
And texter from the 262, listening here in Waukesha, WAUK. Don't forget, we all pay for the no seatbelt boys through increases in our insurance rates and crowded hospitals. I just didn't think we were still having this argument about the government stepping on my freedom because I have to wear a seatbelt. That's just loony to me.
I'm trying to think of other passe, you're on my freedom yard, not my freedom backyard, that someone could bring up now as like a campaign point, like seatbelts. It's that's like a retired jersey. That's like someone saying like, I want to play for the NBA. I want to play for the Chicago Bulls. I want 23. No, buddy, that one's gone. We don't talk about that one anymore. It's good. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Just let that go.
Yeah. Let it go.
Just let that go.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right. We started off the hour with this, and we will end the hour with this. A federal appeals court today rejecting Donald Trump's claim that he is immune from prosecution for anything he ever did while president, including trying to overturn the 2020 election. He is expected to immediately appeal to the Supreme Court. The justices could make a quick decision on whether or not they will hear the case and then fast track a ruling. Trump has until February 12th to appeal before the lower court can act again.
I just want to see them. Just imagine knocking on the door like, hey, it's your buddy Trump. I'm here. I want immunity. And there's like, oh, sorry, we're having a meeting. Sorry, it's not a good time. It's not a good time right now.
Leave a message at the desk.
Yeah.
Leave a message with the secretary at the desk, Donald Trump, and we'll get back to you when it's convenient.
Yes.
This will be very interesting.
Yes. Agreed. We might know in the course of a week and a half, 2 weeks, if they
February 12th.
if they say
We're not
no.
taking it. According to the ruling, for the purpose of this criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump with all of the defenses of any other criminal defendant, but any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects him against this prosecution, which seems pretty reasonable.
I mean, I know that the president enjoys certain immunities while in office. You know, I can't sue him for making my wife leave me because she likes him now, but I could sue him when he becomes a regular person.
Citizen.
Yeah, at this point, no. Mm-mm.
And if we remember Mitch McConnell, and we talked about this not too long ago, shortly after January 6th and the attack on the Capitol, his whole reasoning for not impeaching Donald Trump in that second impeachment was because this will be handled by the court system when he's out of office. And that's where we are. And anyone who argues that the president should be completely immune for eternity, put that same immunity on a president you don't like.
Yeah. Just for clarification before we kick out, are we giving him the same immunity that we gave Aaron Rodgers? Because he's immunized too. See what I did there? I ended on a joke. You're welcome.
Thank you, Greg Bach. Very excited. When we return, we're going to be talking about hemp batteries.
Yeah.
You heard that correctly.
Not two separate things. Those are one thing.
They are one thing.
Hemp batteries.
Hemp batteries, a startup manufacturer, is coming to Portage. Going to be building hemp batteries. The Sustainable Communities Corporation, their CEO, is going to be joining us after 11 o'clock. So many questions, Greg Bach. So many questions. Stay with us. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
When I'm home, everything seems to be right. When I'm home, feeling you holding me tight, tight. Yeah, it's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do will make me feel alright. You know I feel alright. You know I feel alright.
Waukesha, home of Les Paul, our awesome farmers market, and The Shaw, 540 AM and 101.1 FM, WAUK. Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app. Connecting the dots between the left and the right. Rational Revolution with Chris. Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at 1 on The Shaw, 101.1 FM. And on the
Where you may be missing out, we're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.
Listening to The Shaw, WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W266DR Waukesha, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
CBS News special report. A federal appeals court rejects former President Trump's claim of immunity and says he can be put on trial for efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. CBS's Jan Crawford.
You have a federal appeals court, liberal judges, a conservative judge speaking with one voice and emphatically rejecting President Trump's broad claims that former presidents are absolutely immune from what they did as president.
Legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
It's not just about President Trump. It's about every president moving forward and whether or not we want to create that type of precedent in our legal system.
It's the second time a judicial panel has ruled against Trump on the matter of immunity. CBS's Scott McFarlane is outside the courthouse.
There was a March 4th trial date that existed until last week. The judge waiting on this ruling to keep the case off the calendar. It could now potentially go back on and soon.
CBS News Special Report. I'm Steve Kathan.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Republican state lawmakers are again seeking to define what witness address information must be on an absentee ballot envelope in order for the vote to count in Wisconsin. A bill introduced this week is similar to one Governor Evers vetoed 2 years ago. It's scheduled to get a public hearing tomorrow. Experts say expanding the child tax credit would lift it.
Hey, Jeff, do you just want to test for me quick?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yep, you're sounding good.
Awesome.
From the bill, and about 40% of kids who don't get the full credit now, their families will gain $1,000 or more from this bill.
A bill to revive the expanded credit passed the U.S. House last week. Final adoption is not guaranteed. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WAUK News, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. New charges have been brought against the dad accused of causing a car crash that led to the deaths of his 2 sons in Waukesha County. Yesterday, Paul Vinson was in court, where prosecutors filed additional charges against him. Those include homicide by use of a vehicle using a controlled substance and possessing a machine gun. Vinson led police on a chase that ended with a Delafield crash. In addition to 2 of his sons being killed, his 6-year-old daughter and a teenage niece were also seriously injured. Kenosha County is set to take a significant step towards a casino today. In Madison, there will be a signing of an intergovernmental agreement with the Menominee Indian tribe. Kenosha Mayor John Antaramian and County Executive Samantha Kirkman are expected to be present at the signing. Although the project has secured approval from the City Council and County Board, it still needs federal approval and a signature from the governor. And that's what you need to know. I'm Stuart J. Waddles, WAUK News.
What's on your to-do list? Check your mail? Get groceries? How about getting your annual vaccines? We can help you check that off.
You've got this.
Yes, you do. Because we've got you. With local vaccine events and access to transportation, protecting yourself and your loved ones is not a chore anymore.
You've got this.
A message from the Aging and Disability Vaccination Collaborative, powered by U.S. Aging. Funded by the U.S. Administration for Community Living through a grant to U.S. Aging. Learn more at yougotthis.usaging.org.
The Packers making more coaching changes. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Packers making moves on their defensive coaching staff after firing Joe Barry and hiring Boston College head coach Jeff Hafley. Gone are linebackers coach Kirk Olivendotti and defensive back coach Greg Williams. They have hired a new defensive line coach, Vince Ogabasi, replacing Jerry Montgomery, who had held that position since 2015. Ogabasi has connections to the 49ers and served with the Packers' new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, at Boston College. Last night at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes asked about his father's most recent arrest in Texas over the weekend, charged with drunk driving.
It's a family matter, so I'll just keep it to the family, and that's all I really have to say at this point.
It's his father's third offense. NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks road trip winding down. They're in Phoenix against the Suns tonight. Men's college basketball, the Wisconsin Badgers slipped from 6th to 11th ranked in the nation after those back-to-back losses. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Seek the sunshine while you can. Clouds are increasing today, becoming mostly cloudy by tonight. High temperatures rise to the mid-40s today and climb even warmer tomorrow to the upper 40s. Winds start to whip by Thursday and rain rolls in. Find that umbrella. Currently, it's 28 degrees.
After my wife died, I felt like I lost everything, including my love of fishing. But one day, my granddaughter called, and I realized I still had a lot to look forward to. I got referred to a psychiatrist who explained depression can happen to anyone. Getting help doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger. I just wish it made me better at fishing.
Mental health care is working for Diego. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
This is your hometown radio, refreshed, keeping you informed, entertained, and connected locally across the Civic Media Network. Whether you're heading down Les Paul Park,
welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, the surgeon of sound, Calvin, is on the board. You can always join us at 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Party.
Leave a message on the live stream. Apparently, the big place to party on the live stream is on YouTube or Facebook.
I guess so. I think we get all of the live stream. All of the live streams come into one
merge.
Yeah, no one's on Twitter right now. It
is what it is.
Ex-listeners.
Very excited to have our next guest join us. Big news coming to Portage. A startup manufacturer is coming to town. They are going to build a battery plant in order to make batteries from hemp. The Wisconsin Battery Company is a research, development, and manufacturing company owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation, and their CEO is joining us right now, Jeff Green. Good morning, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Good morning, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is really exciting news. We have many, many questions. How does this even work? I'm sure I will understand all the intricacies of the science, Jeff, but for other people,
yes, of course,
who are listening,
for the other fools
who may not grasp nanotechnology and stuff.
I've seen Endgame. I've seen Marvel movies.
Maybe you could explain it.
So in another universe, we take...
Sweet. You've got me, Jeff. You've got me.
No, seriously, though, Jeff, it sounds very complicated for us non-scientific people. How does this actually work?
And I'm an economist. I'm not a scientist. So I'm going to try to teach from an economic perspective, not a scientific perspective, because when the scientists talk to me, my eyes glaze over as well.
That's good to know.
So essentially, hemp carbon is when you take hemp bast, which is the let's call it the trunk of the hemp plant, and strip it and burn it, it becomes carbon. You burn anything, it becomes carbon. Easy technology. We take that with some patented technology that our scientists have come up with and create essentially a solution that replaces graphene or graphite. So if you're familiar with graphene or graphite, it's a storage, it's basically an expensive solution to storage. The lithium part of the battery we're looking at, because the hemp is so amenable to storage, we can use sodium instead of lithium. So that's the new technology as well. So we're really embracing new technologies and new processes in the battery industry that really hasn't changed since Burgett Technologies came to Wisconsin 100 years ago.
Jeff, the lithium and graphite, are these becoming increasingly difficult to get?
Yeah, so lithium is generally mined in countries that don't like us. So that's the biggest problem we're running into right now. And you're going to hear from all of the EV manufacturers, they're going out and buying lithium mines. And that's, just an end game that doesn't work in Marvel or anywhere else.
Nice.
So, I mean, hemp is something that's been around for eons, right?
Yeah. Hemp's been around since 5,000 years based off of, some reports. It's been around in the Chinese market since before the U.S. was ever even conceived.
But then there was from what I understand, and if I'm wrong, but please let me know, Jeff, that there was a big crackdown, though, on hemp. Wasn't there? There was a lot of opposition to using hemp for different things.
Yeah, back in the 20s, Harry Anslinger and the U.S. government decided to criminalize and racistly, work with marijuana and hemp and tie them all together as a single plant. And in some respects, their genus species is the same. So it's not like it was complicated. The paper industry and the criminality of using marijuana against the minorities was kind of all tied together so that big business in the United States could continue to use wood pulp for paper instead of hemp and stuff like that.
It's always about money.
Always.
And fear and using fear to get there.
Fear and money. Yeah. Two of my favorite things, fear and money.
If you're just joining us, Jeff Green is our guest. He is the CEO of Sustainable Communities
Actually,
Corporation.
I'm president of Wisconsin Battery Company.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Battery Corporation, which is owned by Sustainable
Right.
Communities. And they're going to be bringing this hemp-based battery plant to Portage because they just saw a big loss of jobs there. Correct, Jeff?
Yeah, well, Energizer announced that they were shutting down the Portage and the Fenimore plant about a year ago. A good reporter found out about it about a year earlier than Energizer wanted to announce it and put it out into the media. So we found out about it and kind of harassed Energizer for the last 6 months to try to work with us unsuccessfully. And now we're just trying to wait for them to go away.
And so how long is it going to take this to get up and running in Portage and hopefully give some of the people who lost those Energizer jobs new jobs?
Yeah, so in Portage, we have a firm timeline. We are going to do our groundbreaking on April 23rd, and we should be up and running by Q1 of 2025.
Wow.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're going to really launch quickly. And our hope is that we're going to probably do some assembly of some batteries that we're working on at UWM in Milwaukee and get some of the fringe batteries that we're working on up and running first. The furnace that we're going to be buying to basically cook this hemp is a $1.4 million machine. So it's not, there's a pretty big barrier to entry for batteries, and it's continuing to go. We've got a $50 million grant at the DOE that we've applied for. We've got $40 million in industrial revenue bonds that are going through the system. We should be getting that money presumably around June or July, and that will give us the funds to kind of get up and running. We've already gone out and started collecting resumes from all of those Energizer employees that are open, and what we're trying to do right now is bridge that layoff period to start period with Madison College and Southwest Technical College in Fenimore, some training programs and some education programs so that they can not have to either move. I mean, in the case of Fenimore, there's really nothing else. They would theoretically kill that community if we didn't come in there. So we're really diligently trying to buy the Energizer plant in Fenimore so that we don't have to build. Building in Fenimore would take 2 years.
And I'm sure be very, very expensive as well.
Correct.
On that topic, what kind of retrofitting do you think you're going to have to do in, let's start with Portage, with the technology you have to make the product? Is it a tear down and start over, or is it like, is there enough goodness in that building, good bones to use that to start up the operation?
So we're going to build from scratch in Portage. We've got a 100,000 square foot facility that we have designed and we'll be building starting in April. So
Gotcha.
that is 100,000 square feet that we are going to make as our showpiece for international travel and things like that. We've got some African leaders that are planning on coming to Portage to see our technology. We've got a contract pending on a kind of a new technology in the Kiki or tuk-tuk. If you're familiar with the Far East, they use these smaller framed vehicles, and in Nigeria there's one that is being run on solar power with a battery, and so we're redesigning that battery for more efficiency and then going to launch that in Africa. And we think that's that, along with our industrial battery that we're going to launch, which includes artificial intelligence for bringing energy into the grid, will be the two things that we really start with, because those are both assembly. But when we start manufacturing from bill of materials, those machines are very intricate and will take sometimes 40 to 50 weeks to design and build. So that's we're trying to balance having something we can do quickly with something that we can do long term, or both.
Jeff Green is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, which is owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation, and they are bringing a battery manufacturing plant to Portage that is going to use hemp. You had talked, Jeff, about some classes being offered so people can get up to speed if they want jobs in this industry. What kind of backgrounds are you looking for? What kind of skills?
Obviously, if they've worked for Energizer, they've got a lot of the skills that we want. The tool and die guys, the quality people, the inventory people, the line workers, we're working collaboratively with the Teamster organization. So there are a few people in management that don't want to participate with us, and we've wished them well in whatever they choose to do. But generally speaking, we're coming to support the community and be a union shop. We're not going to try to break a union.
That's excellent to hear. Now we made some jokes about before about hemp and its reputation and its history. Are you getting any pushback from anybody with old world ways, their thoughts of hemp, and what do you think you're doing? What are you trying to do here? Or is it pretty much a progressive viewpoint from what you're trying to achieve?
I coming at it from being on the flower side or the cannabis side of the plant on a previous company, we got pushback there. But on the fiber side, or what we're calling the plant side, I'm not seeing a lot of resistance. I was at Whole Foods the other day, and there's hemp herd in Whole Foods. So I really don't think that we're going to see any issues with what we're doing here. Now the CBD and the cannabinoids of the plant are really what's getting pushback, and a lot of it comes from ignorance and misunderstandings.
So just to clarify, we will not be smoking these batteries after we're done with them.
No, that's not the way to recycle.
I don't know, Jane. Have you ever been to Florida? That's. No.
We just want to make sure that we're clear about all the specifics about this.
How often are you asked that question? Like, hey, can you smoke batteries, man?
Well, it's funny because
that meant a lot. That answer that sound meant a lot.
Jeff Green is our guest. He is the CEO of a Wisconsin battery company, which is owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation. Jeff, do you have time to stay with us for another short segment?
Sure.
If you have a question for Jeff, you can text it at 844-967-2789. Leave a comment on the live stream. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, stay close. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
What else to do about it?
Labor shortages, retention problems, it's been a challenging time for my business. But in Wisconsin, there's 600,000 people with disabilities who are ready to work right now. They just need you to believe in them and say yes. I did.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support for people with disabilities and their employers to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
It's Fully Leaded Education Talk. Busted Pencils with Dr. Tim and Dr. Johnny. Weeknights at 7 on the Shaw, 540 AM and 101.1 FM WAUK, and on the Civic Media app.
Missed your favorite show live on air? It's easy to find what you enjoy wherever you listen to podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And we're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app.
The Shaw, WAUK.
Good morning, and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin on the board. You can join us. Call or text at 844-967-2789. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Very happy to be joined by our guest. He is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, a company owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation, and they're coming to Portage with plans to make batteries, but this time out of hemp. So, Jeff, you did mention that it's a union shop. It's going to stay a union shop. How many jobs are we talking about ultimately, do you think?
So I think we're going to start up with probably around 50 to 100 in each Fenimore and Portage if we are able to accomplish that. And then over the next 5 years, we're expecting to ramp up at about 100 a year. So we expect 500 to 600 over the next 6 years.
That's great. And these are family sustaining jobs. I think it's really important for people to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously technology is moving forward. And so we're trying to stay with the times of making sure that Wisconsin stays a battery state. I mean, Wisconsin's been a battery state since batteries were created.
I did not know that we had a long history.
Beyond the cheese.
Beyond the cheese. We're always trying to highlight things in Wisconsin that aren't just dairy products.
Yeah.
I did not know that we had such a long history of batteries in Wisconsin.
And some of the most prolific battery scientists in the world are in Milwaukee.
Boom. Come at us, other battery state. I don't know. I have no idea. We got 2 questions on our text messaging line, and I want to ask them both. They're kind of they're in the same category. One, hemp batteries are they recyclable? And also, are there any rare earth metals needed to produce hemp batteries?
So we are finalizing our bill of items on all of our batteries right now. So whether or not there's any sodium, I guess technically is is one, but sodium is so massively present right now. It's not anything that we're worried about. But we're trying to eliminate, lithium. We're trying to eliminate graphene. We're trying to eliminate the things that are problematic.
Well, and again, as you mentioned, unfortunately, those mines tend to be in countries that are not necessarily friendly to the U.S.
Right. And as far as recyclable goes, we're going to try to actually create a lithium-ion recycling plant on the same property. But right now, Ukraine, I don't know if you know this, but Ukraine was the world leader of fertilizer. And so with the war in Ukraine, fertilizer has actually gone up. I don't know if you've looked at fertilizer lately, but it's doubled in price. And that's not just, Home Depot jacking the price on you. That's Ukraine having some supply chain issues. And so we're looking at ways that we can turn this lithium into fertilizer because your plants like lithium. And, that's part of the overall big scheme of what we're doing. The outer shell is still going to be metal, and we can recycle that, obviously. But you can recycle anything, but it all has to come down to economics.
Sure, it's got to be cost effective, right?
Right. And Dr. Chu our scientist has a method for recycling that prior to Ukraine going into war was not cost effective. Now it is kind of very tightly cost effective, but that's assuming that Ukraine never comes back and becomes, a fertilizer supplier again. And that's not really something that I expect. So I think that it's just a dangerous situation right now that we've got to economically figure out. We want to recycle batteries. That's not, it's certainly within our mission, but making sure that we do it effectively. Daycare workers, we're trying to put subsidized daycare in both of our factories as well. Both subsidized daycares and recycling are both non-profitable.
Jeff, that is so wonderful. Subsidized daycare within the facility, and as you said, it doesn't generate profits. But good heavens, we've been talking about this since 9 to 5 came out with Dolly Parton and Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. I mean, that was a intrinsic part of that movie, and it's 2024 and we're still so far away from it. Why is that important to you to include that, Jeff?
Well, I mean, the daycare industry financing fell off a cliff federally over the last year. So what you're finding is young workers, and we are attempting to bring a pension program back into the market as well. So, to do a pension, you've got to have a balance of young, middle, and older workers for it to work. And so, being able to hire younger workers early in their family, if they don't have daycare that's affordable, they can't work, or only one
Yeah.
of them can work, and that's going to be counterintuitive to what we're trying to accomplish. So we are also putting together a incubator program for our retirees, so that if they want to go out and do something afterwards, they can get educated on how to do that as well. So that's, we want to basically have this as a generational business.
Jane, are you hiring? I'll be up there in like 4 hours.
I was trying to find.
I don't even have children.
I was trying to find a keyword that I could just throw at Jeff and make it sound like I actually know what I'm talking about when it comes to batteries. Oh, nano sheets.
Yeah, there you go.
Good job, Shane.
You want to talk carbon nano sheets, Jeff? I'm the guy.
My nano sheets have a thread count of
If someone is listening and they would like to find out more, or possibly apply for a job, or find out about training opportunities and stuff, Jeff, where should they go?
So our email is work@winbat.co, and that's where anybody that wants to submit a resume should do.
Okay.
Winbat.co is our website. That's going to be drastically overhauled over the next 6 months, but right now at least it's a 4-pager that keeps all of our media in one place, and you can contact us and find out more about what we're doing. The groundbreaking obviously is April 23rd in Portage, and I invite anybody that wants to show up to be there. We're expecting some pretty high profile political people there.
I would imagine so. Everybody's going to want to claim a piece of this.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Portage has been really open to working with you.
Oh, amazingly so. The mayor, as well as the entire council, have been fabulous to work with. We've got a call tomorrow on the industrial revenue bonds. I don't know if you're familiar with that form of financing, but the city has to approve it. And getting a city to approve a industrial revenue bond is not something that just anybody can do. It's something that they have to believe in and want for their city. And obviously, we got unanimous support a couple weeks ago. So.
Such exciting news. It's wonderful. And thank you so very much for joining us, Jeff, and explaining a little bit better how this is all going to work. I hope we can have you back on after the groundbreaking.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Jeff Green is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, coming to Portage and a battery near you. News is coming up next. And when we return, 5 what moments? This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
Charge me up. Charge me up.
Did you know this local radio station is part of Civic Media? Learn more about the entire network at civicmedia.us.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Former Green Bay Packers star quarterback Brett Favre still owes money in his welfare fraud case. Mississippi Auditor Shad White is suing Favre for $730,000 in fines and interest on the money he took for speeches that he never gave. Favre was never charged with any crime. Deep fake images and voices are already creeping into political ads around the country. Wisconsin lawmakers don't want it to happen here. Representative Adam Nealon tells WISN TV's Upfront the bill to label AI in political ads has bipartisan support.
This isn't a Republican issue. This isn't a Democratic issue. This is an issue that affects everybody. And that's why we wanted to make it a broad coalition and earn that bipartisan support and make sure that it's signed by the governor.
The bill would impose a $1,000 fine for violations. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer.
For WAUK News, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. Asian business owners were being targeted by criminals in Walworth County. That's the claim from Elkhorn police after 3 people were arrested after a home invasion, chase, and crash over the weekend. The recent incident involved a burglary at a home in Elkhorn, a chase through Walworth County, and a crash in Lake Geneva. The suspects, including a 16-year-old from Chicago, are believed to be part of a larger organized group targeting Asian business owners. 2 other men related to the burglary are still on the run. Ballpark parking is getting what's called an upgrade. This year, parking at Brewer games will move a little more quickly, with the team announcing everyone will now have to use the MLB app. When people arrive at American Family Field, those who have paid for parking in advance will log on to the app. Paying on the spot will require users to scan a QR code in the parking lot and pay online. And that's what you need to know. I'm Stuart J. Waddles, WAUK News.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I'm Pete with the 60-second Showbiz Beat. Taylor Swift was spotted at a Sunday event where people welcomed seeing her on camera as much as possible. They also didn't have a choice as she won her 4th Album of the Year award for her Midnights compilation. Swift is the only artist ever to win that award 4 times. Her past albums, Folklore, 1989, and Fearless also won the award. Swift took the opportunity during her acceptance speech to let her fans know that her next album, The Tortured Poets Department, will be released April 19th. Swift is now a 14-time Grammy winner. It's all about the sequels when it comes to commercials for movies at this year's Super Bowl. Deadpool 3, Twisters, A Quiet Place, Day One are all advertising during the big game this coming Sunday, according to Deadline. The price of a 30-second movie ad during this year's game, a cool $7 million American dollars. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 8 and 10 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Seek the sunshine while you can. Clouds are increasing today, becoming mostly cloudy by tonight. High temperatures rise to the mid-40s today and climb even warmer tomorrow to the upper 40s. Winds start to whip by Thursday and rain rolls in. Find that umbrella. Currently, it's 28 degrees.
Think you'd like working with us at Civic Media? We're having fun and moving fast to preserve hometown radio across Wisconsin. If you have the right skills to join our team, let's talk. Civic Media is a proud equal opportunity employer committed to diversity and inclusion, along with the growth and development of all current and future employees. If you're interested or are part of an organization who wants to know more, go to our website, civicmedia.us, and click on the Careers tab.
Broadcasting to Waukesha at 101.1 FM. Broadcasting.
Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Thank you so very, very much for joining us. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, RYPC on the board.
Wait, what was that one?
RYPC, resident young person.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, RYPC.
You're a
on the
rapper
board,
now,
coming
Calvin.
to you live from our studio in downtown Waukesha. I want to give a shout out to everybody listening in Oshkosh on WISS and on WLAK in Amory.
Amory.
Hopefully Todd Albaugh and I will be doing a little tour through the western part of Wisconsin.
And I'll just be here crying. Everyone left me
spring.
home alone.
We'll get the chance to check out Amory. So thank you for joining us. You can call, you can text 844-967-2789. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you just missed it, Jeff Green was here. He is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, and they are coming to Portage. They're going to make batteries out of hemp. And one of our texters listening, Wes from Middleton, any plans to expand to Fenimore eventually, another southern Wisconsin town like Portage that was hit hard by the Energizer layoffs. And Wes, I don't know if you had a chance to hear Jeff, but yes, they are hoping there is an Energizer plant in Fenimore that they are hoping to buy as well.
Yep.
And this is just indicative of how crushing it is for our smaller communities, when there's one main employer that everybody depends on.
That's what Jeff said in the interview. He said that, if they don't get this going, that town's crushed.
They're going to die.
I wish the battery company all the best of luck. Jeff was a great guy to talk to. I love their attitude. I mean, childcare, pensions,
union,
no
shop.
union busting. Like, this serves as almost like a model that this can be done again. That you can be a good employer, and you know what that does? Builds company morale.
Just for the town.
I mean, my gosh, if like I said, my wife and I don't have a child, but if we work somewhere that had daycare, I would want to work there, not because of the daycare, but because the fact that they offer it means that they care about their employees.
And again, this is something that we've been talking about for decades. This came up in the movie 9 to 5.
Great film.
It still is a wonderful film. And again, we've been talking about companies building in daycare into their own facilities, so we could avoid the crisis that we're in now, because it is essentially a childcare crisis.
Could you imagine? Let's say you work at that battery plant, you're making 65, 70,000 a year. I don't know how much, but let's just say in a tech position, let's go by what Foxconn told us they'd be paying. 73 grand a year. How much money of your salary you be saving every year by not having to put your child into daycare?
Thousands.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes. Thousands.
So the fact that, good on them. I like it. I love to have them back and talk to them more as things get going. But for now, we're going to move on to a list. I got a list for you, Jane.
I like lists.
I love lists too. I write things down. Oh, the feeling when you cross it off or you check it off.
Accomplish something.
Oh, but I got a list here of the top 5 embarrassing Republican stories from January.
There's only 5?
Well, these are the top 5.
The top 5.
And guess what? Wisconsin's in there.
How many? Oh, how many?
Well,
oh, good. Okay.
So let's just start with number 5.
Okay.
This is comes out of the great state of Ohio. State Representative Jennifer Gross says her son does not sleep with loose, quote unquote, loose vaccinated women. So Representative Jennifer Gross, Republican of Westchester in Ohio, declared on January the 18th that her son, her 20-year-old son, does not sleep with vaccinated women. She made a post as a response to somebody who falsely claimed that they believed in vaccination, and she got on and said, "My oldest is 20 and he's awake." I don't know what that means. If it means like he's out of bed.
No, he sees the left's whatever, hanky panky.
Yeah, no girls who are quote loose, no girls who are vaxxed. To which I just want to issue an apology to Representative Jennifer Gross's son, whose mother went on a social media platform to tell us all who he will and will not knock boots with. So
that's important to know.
Yeah, but
I guess if you live in Ohio.
Exactly. So now we know that. That's part of the story. You can get on with your day. So I know that you wouldn't have been able to get on with a full day not knowing that information. So
it is remarkable to me, though, that we still have so many people who are convinced that vaccines are deadly. It is mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
That we're here. Not all of us.
I mean, I'm here. I got vaccinated. So
I was also vaccinated, and I'm still waiting to become magnetic because I was promised I would.
I'm waiting for superpowers. I want to be a mutant, and not a dumb mutant either. Not like, oh, I can, close the door with my mind. I want to be able to, fly.
We all have dreams.
I get here so much. So, all right, we're going to move on to number 4.
Number 4 on the list of, this is embarrassing, Republicans of January.
Republican stories of January. Border bill debacle. We were talking about this earlier. Border debates. The Democrats finally come up with a plan, present the plan.
There was a bipartisan plan in the
Oh,
Senate.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
A bipartisan plan in the Senate.
Bipartisan plan in the Senate came together. Here we go.
Should get done.
Let's do it. Republicans said no.
Nope.
NARP.
Nope.
Congress said NARP. Senate said NARP. And that led to Oklahoma Senator James Lankford getting censured by the Oklahoma GP after he criticized the party for not supporting the bill. Yeah. He was censured by his state party.
His own party.
For criticizing his party. I mean, if this was Russia, he'd know the business end of a 6th floor window, I'm sure.
Yeah, stay on the 1st floor.
Yeah. But he also made the horrible mistake of saying that he'd be willing to give President Biden a quote unquote victory lap if they fix the border stuff this election year. I mean,
you can't have that.
He's no longer a Republican anymore. He works at a Chick-fil-A in Tulsa, and he's not allowed to talk about politics anymore. He just talks about frying up chicken fingers.
Well, and what's interesting is that Lankford was given this job to negotiate a deal. Mm-hmm. This was his job.
Yep.
And he accomplished it and said, yes, okay, this will be good for the Biden administration, but my party has essentially been screaming about this for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to wait until maybe Donald Trump gets reelected, and then maybe we'll fix the border.
And then even after they said that, he still went on television and said how good this bill was and how he wanted to get it through. And that's when he made the gross mistakes of speaking your mind.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Trouble. Number 3 comes from our next door neighbors to the east, Michigan.
I love Michigan.
This one's titled "Nobody Knows Who's in Charge of the Michigan Republican Party."
This is good.
After conspiracy theorist Christina Caramo was removed as chair of the Michigan Republican Party, she refused to leave and repeatedly labeled the efforts to oust her as illegitimate. Sound familiar?
It does.
Last week, the Republican National Convention established a temporary panel to determine the true leader of the Michigan Republican Party. I'm sure a lot of them said it was Trump. After a splinter group, that's something you usually reserve for things like ISIS and other terrorist groups, a splinter group. A splinter group of committee members elected former U.S. Representative Pete Hoekstra as their chair. And let's see what else about this. It's, in addition to the RNC, former President Donald Trump, you remember him?
Sure.
Has backed Hoekstra despite supporting Caramo's ascension and her unsuccessful bid for Secretary of State.
Yeah, the Michigan GOP, if you've been following this at all, is a mess.
Yeah.
They're broke. They're essentially broke.
Yeah.
Much like the RNC that Romney McDaniel has been heading up. They're having money problems too. But the infighting among the Michigan GOP, they had a meeting a couple of months back. There were physical assaults going on. This is within their own caucus.
Yeah.
Physical assaults going on at these meetings and fighting over who is the head. And it's quite something to watch.
So number 2 is probably my favorite, even though it's number 2. There's a new state senator in Oklahoma named, and I'm not making this up. His name is Dusty Devers.
Okay.
I didn't make that up. That's his actual name.
Devers.
He wants a Christian nationalist agenda in Oklahoma. He definitely wants what's his face from before to shut up because you don't talk bad about the party. You know, I was just talking about him. I can't remember his
Langford.
name. Langford, thank you. I have a very bad memory. But so his whole thing is he wants a total abortion ban with no exception for rape or incest or life of the mother. He is in favor of a total pornography ban, which
that's going to work.
Good luck. And that would implement felony charges if you possessed and or created any of the pornographic images. So I guess the porn industry in Oklahoma is packing up right now because they're skedaddling out of town.
They're afraid.
But he went on a very conservative podcast called Conversations That Matter. This one doesn't. He labeled non-Christians as wicked. and that Christians need to be elected, and that is the benefit of everyone. I brought up a small clip. Calvin, Juicy C, can you please play that clip?
The question is whether abortion is health care.
Oh, that's another one.
That was a.
But we'll get to
Bill
that
Mitch.
one in a moment.
I do want to point out also, from what I understand, this guy that you're referencing from Oklahoma, also wants an end to no-fault divorce.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised.
And we've mentioned this over the past couple of months. This is a thing.
Yes.
Very, very much a thing for certain members of the Republican Party, essentially dooming women to stay in bad marriages, no matter whether you get beaten or he beats your kids or he cheats on you or he doesn't support you and the family. They really do want to get rid of no-fault divorce.
Yeah.
So
Calvin,
women have to stay.
Do you have the clip of the state senator? Okay. Well, essentially, he was saying that Christians should be in charge and Christians should be making the decisions, and that those who do not believe in the Christian way are wicked and deserve no sort of, they deserve to be controlled, essentially.
Well, because they don't know right from wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
And then with the time we have left, number one.
Most embarrassing Republicans in January.
You know him. You love him. He knows more about mammalial deliveries than anyone else. That is State Representative Joel Kitchens from Wisconsin, folks. We did it, baby. One number one.
The most embarrassing.
The most embarrassing. He is the one
Calvin,
who...
do we have that clip?
Yep.
The question is whether abortion is health care. And if you believe that a fetus is a human life, then abortion is not health care. You know, in my veterinary career, I did thousands of ultrasounds on animals, you know, determining pregnancy and that kind of thing. So I think I know mammalian fetal development better than probably anyone here. And in my mind, there's absolutely no question that's a life. And I think the science backs me up on that. But this is really a moral question. And I recognize that not everybody's that's in here is going to agree with me. And if I had the oratorical skills of Lincoln, I still wouldn't change a single mind over there.
You're right.
Well, first of all, you do not have the oratorical skills of Lincoln. So
he admitted that.
Yeah. When you hear his voice, he sounds like a Family Guy character. And the fact that he just goes, I pretty much know more than everybody else does here.
Well, I know I sleep a whole lot better knowing that he knows his mammals. It's just
and one of those mammals, women. Yeah, you are mammal. You are a mammal.
Well, or livestock.
But you're right up there with cow and or sheep and or duck and or.
Well, not duck.
They're not a mammal. Whatever. I'll ask Dr. Kitchens.
All right. Let's call him.
Yeah.
Stay with us. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
We never meant to say, so we keep holding on, burning through the night like fire. Through the night like fire.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're listening to the show.
good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Waukesha. Give us a call, shoot us a text at 844-967-2789. Or if you're watching on the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, and the other one, you can leave a comment there as well. Apparently no one watches that other one.
I went to the X stream, and it is not populated with people. I think mainly Facebook and the YouTube.
And the YouTubes.
But we're going to still be there.
Yeah, for sure.
And eventually you will see Matenaer On Air's page, so you can actually watch on our Facebook page, because that would be cool. That's another way you reach the people with the content. And what are we now? We're content creators.
We are content creators.
No.
I
have so few followers.
Again, you can always check in with us. A call or text at 844-967-2789. We were talking about a list of the 5 most embarrassing Republican politicians from January, and coming at number 1, our very own Wisconsin's own Joel Hitchens. Kitchens, him too. Who knows his mammals better than anybody. And therefore, he can weigh in on, whether or not a woman should be able to have an abortion to save her life.
Hey, ladies, I know you got your lady parts and everything, but I pretty much know about cows.
I know my mammals. Mark from Prairie du Sac is on the line. Good morning, Mark. Thank you for joining us. What did you want to say?
That not only does Kitchens not have the oratorical skills of Lincoln, he doesn't have the intellectual skills of Lincoln, or the intellectual skills of and it's hard. I'm grasping to try to compare the political judgment of him comparing women to animals, which maybe isn't anything new for some of these Republicans anyway. That the way they want to devalue women in the first place. But I mean, the guy, it just is. He wrote the political ad against himself by saying this, and that the Democrats need to hammer home the point that he just. I'm flabbergasted.
But but Mark, don't you think? I think the ease with which he said that when he was on the floor leads me to believe that he's had these conversations with many other people and has absolutely no problem with it, and neither do they.
And that there's comparisons between other mammals and us, because we are mammals as well.
Sure.
But I mean that to actually come out and say something like that it is just still shocking. I mean that, and I once again I heard the point that Scott Walker made the comment about women just getting over rape. It's just a short period of time, you're over it.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks.
Just a couple weeks, and it is just that's the point we need to hammer home with these guys, because apparently that you don't hear any Republicans coming out and just condemning that remark outright and saying how stupid it is, and and actually taking a stand. Actually, that. I don't know. I mean, it's just.
I feel your look, Mark. I really do. It's, and especially from a woman, it is astonishing. It is astonishing to women to hear these words and watch these men make these kinds of proclamations. It's a lot to digest. Carolyn from Madison joining us. Good morning, Carolyn. Thank you so very much for calling. What did you want to say?
Hello. Back to hemp, industrial hemp. I've been imagining Wisconsin developing its little towns around all the things you can make out of hemp.
Yeah.
One town being specifically paper, another or cloth. You can make wonderful cloth out of
You
hemp.
can make rope.
Rope.
The Navy used to use hemp ropes up until a certain point.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't hemp used in sandals. I think you can make sandals and things like that. Thank you for calling, Carolyn, and thank you so much for listening in Madison on WMDX. You can always check in at 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. Another thing that we had mentioned was this guy from Oklahoma talking about they want to get rid of no-fault divorce.
Dusty Devers.
Dusty Devers. Laura from Rapids listening on WFHR. No-fault divorce just means those women will have to start exposing their men's actions instead of opting for no fault. That does put an additional burden, though, on women to prove that he's cheating or beating or whatever.
Yeah. just getting rid of no-fault divorce is no good. You need to get out. You need to get out. And you have to have an avenue to do so.
Well, and again, shouldn't that be my determination as the person in this relationship?
Absolutely.
On whether or not this is salvageable, on whether or not this is a safe place for me and my kids.
Not according to Dusty Devers.
Women are just so intellectually immature, Greg. Apparently, we just need a man.
You know who's smarter than you, Joel Kitchens?
To hold our hand and make our way through life.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep an eye out for the rundown for 5 next month, or for this month.
Well,
in March.
And to be fair, I think we should attempt to find the 5 most embarrassing Democrats. Let's do a little equal time.
Sure.
I don't know that we have anything quite as spectacular as Democrats saying that women are mammals like a cow.
Or censuring their own for saying, oh, this sucks.
But we'll see what we can find.
Yeah, we'll see what we can find. Hey, folks, if you find articles of Democrats
behaving badly,
acting like jackwads, send it to us.
Yeah, let us know for sure.
Matenaer, it's a Matenaer On Air at civicmedia.us.
Matenaer. Matenaer On Air at civicmedia.us. You can always, if you have ideas, if you have an idea for us to go beyond the cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Which we found out about hemp this morning.
I know.
It was very exciting. And I really encourage, if you didn't hear Jeff Green, who's with the Wisconsin Battery Company, they're coming to Portage, go back and listen to it as a podcast.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting discussion.
Sign up for that podcast. Get this show as a podcast. Get all of our Civic Media shows as podcasts, because you might not be listening right now.
Because you have a life.
And you have a life. You have things to do. You're a taxpayer. You might have to be going to daycare right now, picking up your kid. But download it as a podcast, subscribe as a podcast, and please leave a review if you could, because those reviews actually go a long way for the shows. And we'd love to hear what you think about us. And if it's a 5-star, that's great. If it's a 4-star, email us on how we can do better.
And all the complaints go to greg.bach at civicmedia.us.
Okay, I was going to send them all to Todd, but
you can do that too.
That's cool. Thanks.
That works. Thank you so much for listening and calling and texting and joining us on the live stream. I hope you find some joy today and you have the chance to share it. Stay with us. News is next, followed by Todd Alba across the Civic Media Radio Network.